approach to 7th Street, the next stop is Chain.
Turkey, thank you, Turkey. Thank you, Turkey.
In 2000, at the United Nations, all the countries of the world came together and adopted an ambitious plan to end poverty by the year 2015. And the way they thought about poverty was multidimensional. It included not only raising the income of people around the world, but also looked at issues of maternal health, equality between men and women, eradication of disease, education. So as we approach the end of the Millennium Development Goals, they're starting to put together a plan that will take these goals and ambitions and extend them to the year 2030.
I remember the beginning of my
What do you think the goals should be for the next 15 years?
Yeah, that can be a shift, 2030. That'll be better, you know, they change, a lot of things will be changed. The water, you know, good environments, give them education, you know, and build some like the roads, transportation, you know, teach other people how to communicate, you know, good communicators.
Climate change and the impact of drought and resources being fought over, water systems. This is going to cause a lot of conflict, but unless we build up the international institutions and local capacities to deal with those conflicts, we're going to be in more trouble.
Well, I'd like to see improved security, improved governance, gender equality, the alleviation of extreme poverty, and that will lead to access to basic social services.
Affirming human dignity, dignity as a right, and dignity as a gift from God for all people everywhere.
It will be a very comprehensive and integrated goal, a universal one, but also fit to every country's specific conditions.
Address and prevent violent conflict and violence generally, because that's one of the biggest deterrents and obstacles to healthy, sustainable human development. Something that addresses basic security and governance issues.
What does governance mean?
Governance means participation and accountability and transparency and legitimacy.
I remember the beginning of my
Security. These are the foundation.
Do you think a development agenda can be used to help promote peace?
Absolutely. One of the greatest contributors to world chaos and insecurity is the poverty, is the breeding ground for arrogance and lack of education that gives radicalism a place to grow.
A development agenda can help prevent war in that when it deals with the conflict of violence, the drivers of violence, then it is able to deal with the issue of violence and promote peace.
What are the drivers of violence?
The drivers of violence are marginalization, unemployment, corruption, inequality, gender and sexual-based violence, unequal distribution of the country's resources, and the intimidation of the press, claim on press freedoms. Those are all drivers of conflict.
Al-Bashir to ICC! Al-Bashir to ICC! Al-Bashir to ICC!
It depends on the kind of development. If it is inclusive, if it involves grassroots communities in helping determine how their communities will develop and live, I think it has a better chance. A lot of the development we see is top-down, favors some sectors over the others, and can bring conflict.
Development and peace are linked. That the drivers of conflict have to do with how resources are allocated, how people feel about their future, about the fear that they have from their own government, from situations beyond their control.
It is very imperative that all actors take drastic steps to address these issues, because the post for actors to really look at peace building.
What are the chances that these issues of peace and conflict will eventually make it into the post-2015 agenda?
I think at the moment the chances are very high, but there's all to play for, not least because there's at least 2 years now before the agenda is finalised. So I think what we're moving into is a phase of power politics and of negotiations, and the only thing that's going to make a difference now is the extent to which civil society, people from the ground, are heard and their governments respond to what they say.
Who could be against peace? What are the obstacles to putting this into the agenda?
You might have a government that perhaps regards the agenda about peace and security, open governments and accountability as a threat to vested interests. They may phrase that in terms of sovereignty and other objections, but it perhaps isn't really where they're coming from.
What's at stake are the lives of 1.5 billion people who are living in states riven by conflict, where development can't take hold because war washes away any gains they might have made. Unless we solve these issues of violence and conflict, we'll never have the kind of world that we need. And conversely, by working on development, by building stronger societies, we're much more likely to reduce the level of violence that we see now.